Hi, I'm John and I'm 15, and how many people escaped from the World Trade Center attacks?
Hello, I'm Wendy Abel-Weiss, Director of Exhibitions and Programs at the Tribute Center, and we're talking about how many people escaped from the burning towers on September 11th. Well, we know that there were about 40,000 people working in the towers at the time of these attacks, and we know that below the towers there was a transportation hub, and about 150,000 people traveled through that hub during the rush hour. So that's a huge number of people and a major catastrophe. But in fact, the date of September 11th was kind of a unique morning. It was the first day of school here in New York City. It was also the day of an election primary, and also there was a football game the night before, and a giant electrical storm had happened the night before. So things were a little odd, and not so many people were coming to work on time, which was a huge blessing, because we know that only about 14,000 people were in the towers instead of 40,000 on the morning of the attacks. And a lesser number of people were underneath the towers in the transportation hub. So we know about 14,000 to 17,000 people evacuated that day. There was a practice terrorist attack in the World Trade Centers in 1993. A truck came into the towers and went down to the parking garage. It exploded, and a lot of lessons were learned. In fact, in the 1993 attack, a huge billowing black smoke went from the garage all the way up and filled the staircases with black smoke, which made it very difficult to evacuate. In 1993, it took people 4 to 7 hours to evacuate out of that building, and they couldn't see where they were going, and they walked out and they had black soot all over their faces. So in fact, in 2001, when people evacuated, there were all kinds of emergency procedures that had been put into the staircase people could see. There was a lot more experience in how to get out of the buildings with more comfort, and in fact we interviewed hundreds of people who evacuated out of the staircase, and we know from the interviews that we conducted and interviews that we read that other people conducted that in fact for many people the evacuation through the staircase as people descended many floors, there was not a sense of panic. People knew that something serious was going on. They didn't know the extent of the seriousness. Everybody worked very hard to keep their calm. There was joking going on. People were very helpful. They would say, "You first," "No, you first." There was a lot of humanity expressed in their staircase as people descended. However, as people started to get low to the bottom floors and towards the mezzanine, suddenly the floors started to be filled with smoke and water, and then a little bit of panic set in when people realized that something very serious was going on.